Hello, welcome back to another video. I thought I'd just quickly pop my face in at the start because I filmed an entire week and I haven't shown my face once. It's just been a lot of hand wafting in front of the camera. I kept forgetting to film my face, to be honest, so I thought I should at least show it at the start and I show it at the end. So I hope you enjoy seeing what I do in an entire week. There's lots of stuff in this video. Also, this is this month's Patreon print. If you would like to receive this in the post, pledge to the Little Snips tier on my Patreon page at any point this month and you will receive this A5 print in the post. I do recommend, if you want to buy a membership or you want to pay to get this print, don't do it through the iOS Apple app. Apple has now added on all these extra charges to the Patreon app, which means it'll be a lot more expensive, so I recommend buying it through just the Patreon website or just any. If you have a phone that isn't an Apple phone, then you'll be fine. And if you're already a member, it won't affect you. That's my little recommendation. I hope you enjoy this video. And yeah, see you soon. Hello and welcome to the first voiceover in this video. It's going to be quite the voiceover heavy video, so you'll be hearing a lot of me. On Monday I was working on getting all my prints ready to send out for Patreon, so every month there's a Patreon print which gets sent out to all my lovely members. And I was also getting, so these what I'm doing now, are thank you notes which go with the prints. The thank you note is always just like a nice sketch that I've done that month. And then I was also prepping stuff for Etsy. I had quite a few Etsy orders come in as well, so I was doing a mixture of Etsy orders and Patreon prints, but it's quite a big job because I had to do a lot of printing for it. I make my own prints at home on my printer. I have a Canon Pixma Pro 200 printer. You know, it's not just as easy as packing up the print when you have to also like print it and cut it. It takes a lot longer than if I was just to have them all there and ready to pack. Anyway, I'm going to hand you over to past me for a bit. Okay, let me fill you in with everything that's been going on. So I've been printing out things for Etsy order packing and things for sending out my Patreon print. So this was September's Patreon print, this nice baking collage. There is an entire process video of this being made on my channel, so if I can remember I'll link it in the description, but I'm not gonna lie, I probably won't remember. So there are a lot of them have already been packed, but I just needed to print some more. And then every Patreon print every month comes with like just a cute thank you note of something which I've drawn in my sketchbook. Oh, this pile of tiles here eventually needs to go up on the wall. But just if you're wondering why all my tiles, if you know what these are no longer on my wall, you might have noticed as well, I'm in a completely different environment. I'll do some nice shots of it when it's sunny and looking cute. At the moment it's a bit of a mess. So my task now for today is to get all these packaged in envelopes with thank you notes inside every sleeve, because none of them have thank you notes in, so they aren't sealed up yet. I've got some orders to pack and yeah, postage labels. That'll be most of today, so I will get going. Alright, here's a bit of order packing footage now for a while. I haven't filmed myself packing orders in ages. Well, I haven't made a week of art in ages actually. I've just been making, I don't even know what videos I've been making. I'm just looking at my channel now. I haven't made a week of art in about, well, 5 months really. Because I've just been doing other types of videos. Although all my videos, to be honest, are all quite similar. It's just me making art. Whether it's me filming art across a month or a day or a week, it's just me doing art. And this is the format of a week. Anyway, you might have noticed if you've been watching my videos, you've seen any of my past videos, that my environment has changed. I have moved out. I will pop up a picture of what my old studio looked like, and it was very nice. I loved that room so much. I've moved out. I lived with my parents after uni finished. Well, I've been living with my parents my whole life. And then uni finished and I stayed at home for a year. My brother, he moved out. He has his own house now, so I took his old bedroom, and then my bedroom, what used to be my bedroom, I turned into an art room. My parents let me turn it into like this. They basically gave me free reign to do whatever I wanted to do to that room, and I turned it into like my dream space. I loved that room so much, and yeah, so I was sad to wave goodbye to it, but I've moved to Oxford now with my boyfriend because he's doing a PhD. because he's very, very clever. So we've moved to Oxford and we have a flat now. So my art space, I don't have an art room anymore. It's just kind of an art wall. I'm sharing my space with like the living room and the kitchen, but honestly there's no issue at all with that. The room's big enough where it doesn't really matter. I mean, I have a slightly smaller desk now, but there's still plenty of space, and I'm really happy with the room. I think it looks really cute. I mean, obviously there's the limitations of renting. With my old room, obviously I could paint the walls whatever colour I wanted. So I mean, if I could wave a magic wand and put up wallpaper and paint the walls and there'd be no consequences for that, I would very happily do that here. But I'm doing the best. I've decorated the room as best I can with the limitations of renting, and I'm really happy with how it looks. So this is where all my videos will be filmed from now on, for the next while at least, until we end up living somewhere else. So yeah, I'm gonna leave you with some music now. I just thought I'd explain why my art space has completely changed. It's changed, but it's also very similar in the layout of everything. Anyway, I will leave you with some music and I'll pop back to talk about Tuesday. Okay, check out this setup. I've done some rolling around. I've moved my cart that was there with my TV on it. I've rolled that over here, my printer trolley, and then I've wheeled that, which was back there. I've wheeled it around, so I've kind of got like quite a nice U shape now, because I'm about to start a collage, and I'm wary about space, because with collage you've got to spread stuff out. Whilst this desk is very nice and long, it's quite shallow that way, so I'm trying to get as much space on the sides as I can. It's now Tuesday afternoon. This morning I was working on, that's what I'm going to be collaging, by the way. I've got that picture up ready, so that's going to be my collage that I'm going to start. And then this morning I was putting together like this promotional image for this month's like printable on Patreon. You can download it, print it out and make yourself a pop-up card. I made a YouTube video about how I designed this card, so that's now on Patreon for people to print out and make. Hopefully people make it and enjoy it. So that took a while to put together, and I also put together the thumbnail for that same video. Sometimes thumbnails are just so hard to make, and there's 1,000 iterations before I get to something I like. This was one of them. Oh, also this morning, just to give you because this is a realistic week in the life, I also did some editing. This is the stuff that obviously I never really show in videos. This is a realistic week in the life, and a realistic part of my life is doing lots of editing. So this is going to be a Patreon video. Obviously it's nowhere near finished, it's only 6 minutes long, but this is like a move-in video. This is a moving out of my old art studio and moving into my new art studio video. Then I started editing this video that you're watching. Then I also, yesterday, I forgot to show you when I finished editing this video. I have so many videos on the go because I post videos on YouTube and Patreon. Patreon gets 2 videos a month, sometimes free, and YouTube I hope to do 2 a month. Sometimes that doesn't always happen. But I made this yesterday for Patreon, which is a video about how I made this nice owl, which is hanging up right there. Okay, that's what I've been up to. Time to collage this nice scene. Alright, moving on to some collaging footage. Like I mentioned, this was a little commission for a top tier Patreon member. She sent me a picture which she really liked of one of her favourite views. Oh, I can't remember the name of this now. It was I'll have a look for you. It's the Seven Sisters Cliff in England. So she really likes this place, so she wanted me to collage it. which I'm very happily do that because I love collaging an ocean scene, a beach scene. It's kind of a staple of my work. I've collaged so many beaches now. I find they're like my comfort zone. And also I really enjoyed working at this desk. You saw I pulled my trolleys out, so I had like this big U shape around me, because I was a little bit worried that, because I've been so spoiled with my last art room having these two massive desks, I was worried that even though this desk is still pretty big, that it wouldn't be big enough for collage, just because with collage it really helps to be able to spread all your papers out and to see as many papers kind of at a glance as possible. So I pulled these trolleys out so I could get like as much surface area as possible to spread the papers out. Although, to be honest, I didn't really end up using the space, and the desk was plenty big enough. I was just extremely underestimating the size of the desk and overestimating how much space I actually needed. So in the future I might, if I'm doing like a really big collage, like an A3 one, and I probably would bring these trolleys out, but for like a little A6 collage I think I was being a bit dramatic. The collage is almost done. I was really happy with how this turned out. I thought the little house in the corner was pretty cute. I don't really do houses very often, especially from that kind of angle, so that was a bit of a challenge to figure that one out. Thin semicircle shapes that I kind of put throughout this piece, I thought it really brought it together and made it look quite interesting. Because before I added those like fun semicircle, like really thin, I don't know how to describe those shapes, those thin little lines, it kind of looked a bit plain, but as soon as I added them I was like, wow, this has really brought it to life. Okay, the time has come to sort my tiles out. I keep putting it off because it's a really big job. So if you've never seen these before, you're new to this channel, each one of these is a 4.5 by 4.5 centimetre bit of cardboard which has been painted with acrylic paint, and each one has a completely different nature related thing on it, whether it's plants, animals, flowers, and each one has a name on the back. So this one is Alice and Kim. So all of these people are Patreon members, whether that's past or present. So when you join the Patreon, you can request a tile which gets made, and then I upload them to Patreon and you can use them as like your profile picture. That's the idea behind them. And it's just a way for me to like see everyone who's joined, a visual representation of the people who have joined. I haven't made them in quite a while because I'm just really busy and I didn't know if I was going to have anywhere to display them. So it seemed pointless making tiles when I didn't really know if I was going to have anywhere to put them. So now I know I have somewhere to put them, I'll start making them again because I've got a long list. I am slightly concerned they all have tape on the back, but I've got tape obviously stuck to paper, so I'm concerned I don't want it to rip. Oh, see that little bit of pink there, it's ripped up the wolf's eye, so I might have to do a bit of gluing things back on which has gotten stuck to tape. So in my old room, I'll pop a picture up of what they look like. I had them all on the wall and they were just stuck to the wall with masking tape. Because we are renting this flat, I don't really want to stick like 100 tiles to the wall. I'm gonna stick them all to paper and then stick the paper to the wall. That way there's a lot less masking tape on wall action. Everything's laid out. It was pretty easy actually to separate them all. There was just a few where I had to like kind of peel it off the back of the tape and stick it back on, but for the most part it was pretty fine. I've got a reference picture up of how these were arranged on my previous wall, but that was what was that? That was 4 by, I don't know, 25, however many rows there were. So it was 4 wide, but this, because the gap in the wall is shorter, I'm going to go wider with it, so I'm going to go 5 wide. I had it arranged in a way that everything was kind of, all the colours were separated, so there were no kind of tiles of similar colours touching or like above each other. And I tried to spread out the subject matter, so I kind of like, I wouldn't want like a fish next to a fish or a cat next to a cat, like I wanted to spread it out. So I'm now just trying to find everything. So I need a fish now, so I'm just going to start matching everything up. So I'm looking for a watering can. Alright, I've sped this bit up. I was talking to the camera for a while, but I was listening to it back and it's just not very interesting, so I'm going to do a voiceover instead. So I'm wafting my hands around a bit, it's because I was talking. The sped up version is much more interesting. Right, so today I did have plans to do lots of stuff, lots of bits and bobs, but to be honest, I was feeling, and I've kind of gotten over this now somewhat, I don't know, we'll see, it's bumpy road doing art, but I was feeling very much burnt out. I was working on this kind of secret project, which I'm not really allowed to talk about, for the majority of last month, and it kind of really took it out of me. Like I didn't really have a break last month at all. And then it kind of, that combined with also moving house at the end of the month and moving out, I was trying to carry on working because I had to put so much of the work I wanted to do on hold for this secret project, that when the secret project was finally over, it was like, okay, now let's jump back into it, let's get back straight to all the other things I have to do. And I realised I was kind of really burnt out and just dying for a break, but I also felt bad for having that break because I'd put everything on hold for so long for the secret project. So I was very much kind of down in the dumps, to be honest. I was kind of trying to stay positive for the video, but I was feeling pretty negative this day, just feeling a little bit like a failure because I was trying to do art, nothing was really working, and just knowing that I needed to make art, but feeling like every bone in my body didn't want to do it, even though I knew I needed to do it, which is kind of just classic art block thingamabobs. Anyway, I just thought I'd let you know that that was happening a little bit this week, but you don't want to like sugarcoat it all and be like everything's amazing when, you know, sometimes it is really tough be doing this full time, and quite stressful at times because everything for my job relies on the fact that I need to constantly make new art. So when new art isn't really happening, or my art's not working, everything I make I don't like, or just feeling extremely burnt out, it can be very stressful because if I'm not making art, then I can't make money basically. And that combined with the fact that I've also just moved to a very expensive place to live because obviously my boyfriend's got a job here now. It was all too much to handle. Anyway, I've since kind of gotten over that. I've made some nice pieces of art, which has helped to get me out of the art block station. One of those pieces of art you'll see in a little bit, which was also a struggle, goodness me. The piece of art you'll see in a second was a real roller coaster, but I'll talk about that closer to the time. Here's just a bit more packing. So to be honest, on this day, I sorted out those tiles, and then I just really struggled to get any more work done. I kind of did nothing for the rest of the day, and then had a little bit, my boyfriend was like, gave me a pep talk when he got back from his job, which kind of motivated me to do a bit more work today. Just thought, you know, let's do something simple, let's just pack some orders. And I did loads of printing as well for my shop, so that like when I go to pack orders in the future, I don't have to print everything every time, there's just stuff already printed. Anyway, just thought I'd let you know that that does happen sometimes. It's kind of a cycle I go through. Every few months I have a bit of an art block situation. Anyway, there you go. Alright, moving on to Tuesday. So on this day I was doing lots of art. Well, not lots. I was doing one piece of art, but it was quite the time consuming piece of art. First I had to go to the post office. Do you like these little post-it notes I've been putting up throughout the video? I thought it was quite a classy little touch. So I went to the post office and I needed to plan out my new collage. So just like putting together like a Pinterest board, gathering inspiration, then sketching ideas from the Pinterest board, and then finally doing the finished thing. So here is some clips of me sketching. My idea was, so this is for another top tier patron member, just like the one you saw me doing the other day. This is the same thing but for someone else. So basically you can request what you want, whether that's sending me a picture, like a reference picture, or just giving me a general theme. And this woman's been a part of the Patreon since the start, I think, actually, so she's had a lot of originals and she tends to just give me a theme. So the theme for this month is she wanted something to do with a puddle. So it's always, when she first gives me the theme, it's like, okay, what am I going to do with this now? A puddle? Oh, and then it's just like brainstorming, putting together like a mood board. And I've wanted to do something autumn themed for a while because obviously it is the season. Although to be honest, there's lots of there's not really many orange trees yet near where I live. All the trees are still very much green, but it's on the cusp. It's about to start going orange, and I just love the way, I love the autumn colour palette. I just think it's so pretty, so I thought let's incorporate the theme of puddles with the theme of autumn. And I was looking through reference pictures and I just really wanted to do like a really pretty autumn tree. That was my idea, so I was like, how am I going to incorporate a puddle into this? So at first I was thinking, let's do some, like a puddle beneath the tree and then reflect the colours of the leaves in the puddle beneath. But I was like, how on earth do I do this with paper? How do I do reflections in water with the limitations of cut paper? So then I was thinking a bit more and I thought there needs to be something else in the scene because it might just be a bit boring with just the tree. And I was like, hold on, why don't I reflect an animal in the puddle? What animal goes really nicely with the autumn colours? A fox. So that was the thought process. So then I was looking at all these reference pictures of foxes and leaves and just filling up a page with some doodles. I was doing this in the morning and I just wanted to kind of loosen myself up, fill a page with doodles, although the other half of the page is completely unrelated. I drew that ages ago, all the turtles and the sea stuff. That was from last month or 2 months ago maybe, or no, it was last month I did that. So it's been a while actually since I've drawn in this sketchbook because I've been doing just loads of things on loose paper. Anyway, eventually after a few thumbnails and just general sketching, I came up with the concept for this nice fox reflected in a puddle underneath a tree. I also drew a somewhat realistic fox. Don't know why, to be honest, I just was in the mood for it, so here's a little bit of a fox drawing as well. And then in a second you'll see I drew it bigger just on a scrap piece of paper, and did it on kind of 2 scrap pieces of paper, and I was kind of jigsawing them together to figure out the best composition. So that was my process. So that took around maybe an hour to plan, like half an hour to put together a Pinterest board, and then half an hour to just kind of generally sketch and come up with a thumbnail, and maybe like an hour and a half because my art, I was feeling still very much art blocked at this moment in time, so the art was happening very, very slowly. So like the piece of art you see me making, this autumn one, was so difficult. There was multiple points throughout the collage that I'll do in a second where I really wanted to just give up and do something different, just message the woman, be like, listen, I can't get the puddle to work, is there anything else you want? Because I was just really struggling with this idea. And well, collage is a slow process anyway, but I decided to do what could be the most fiddly collage I've ever decided to do. It was so fiddly, and you'll see why in a second. Sorry if you can hear some like background noise. My boyfriend's making tea, so there might be some noises in the background. Yeah, you'll see here how unbelievably small these leaves are. So for reference, this is an A6 piece of paper, which is just slightly bigger than the size of my hand, although that means nothing to you because you don't know how big my hand is, but I'm sure you know what an A6 piece of paper is. Anyway, you can see how small these leaves are. They're like smaller than half of my nail. They're like the size of my little toenail. So I was just cutting out, I don't know, maybe 100 of them, and then also all these little fiddly sticks from the tree. And it's quite difficult to get a tree, well, I find personally it's difficult to get a tree to look good with collage and to get the kind of branches looking somewhat realistic and not just like a fork. So I didn't film much of this collage because for most of it I was really struggling on like the edge of giving up throughout most of it. So when I feel like that and I really don't like how a piece of art is turning out, I just don't really want to film it. But as a lot of collages often go, they don't start to look good until like the last 20% of the piece. Sometimes it can go from really bad to amazing with just a few pieces of paper. Like sometimes it really, oh, that's all it takes. Oh, and then this little fox was so fiddly. I like sketched it out on a piece of paper first and then used that as a guide to cut this one out. And then I cut out the same shape again on tracing paper and then coloured it in so it was a bit like transparent, and stuck that to the puddle to give it that, like, you know, reflected in the puddle look. So here's this collage. I actually really love the way this looks, which yeah, I'm quite amazed to say that, because for the vast majority of this piece, like say 90% of doing this piece, I hated it. But I tell you, that little final addition of the fox really did something special to this piece, so I'm actually quite pleased with it. But it was hard to get there. Welcome back to another Patreon video. This is probably going to be the second bonus video of the month, because there's already been a bonus video already, in case you missed, so we don't have to worry about that. Anyway, here's a bit of footage about so that me and my boyfriend put together his desk, and I'm going to leave you with, I hope you enjoy this video, and yeah, speak soon, bye. So today I am working on some character design. So I've just done some editing and now I'm making some art. I'm working on a character design for this children's book I'm coming up with, and this is for a ladybird waiter working in my book hotel. These eyes aren't stuck down yet. I did a painted version and I really don't like it. I mean, it's okay, but there's a lot wrong with it. And now I'm doing a collaged version with bits of painted, so these legs are painted, and then obviously there's painted details on top of the collage paper. I'm going to have it carrying this big stack of plates and bowls. These eyes aren't stuck down yet, which is why they look a bit funny. I don't quite know where they'll go in the head yet. Where does my piece of tracing paper go? So I drew this design out on a piece of tracing paper. It's going to be something like that. I sketched it out. I did some sketching in my sketchbook, and I drew this design, which I thought was quite interesting. It's fun, although the face, I'm still not 100% happy with the face. I did loads of sketches a while ago of just loads of insects, because the ladybird is just one insect which works in the hotel. There's going to be many different insects which work there. So I did loads of character design a while ago. I came up with these guys, which I like, but they're a bit stiff. So I was trying to give them a bit more expression, things like that. But I did loads of little character designs. I've got bees. I really like this little bee down here. What else did I have got? Oh, and I love this fly. The flies are like the bad guys, so they've got to look dead grumpy, but I've got these funny little fly characters. Oh, and I've got these are like my fun spider designs as well. Anyway, I don't want to show too much because that's personal stuff, but these are all loose, so I'm going to work on sticking down these plates, adding on some details, maybe some like napkins on the plates as well, and yeah, just seeing how I can get it to look. I think this has got more like movement to it, and this one's looking a little stiff, but hopefully once I can play around with it on Photoshop to give it a bit more movement. I'll figure it out. I've tried to do it so that it's kind of a bit more obvious on the sketch. I'm trying to do it where the wings of the ladybird kind of look like a tailcoat, because he's supposed to be quite a fancy waiter. So he's got his bow tie on and then like his tailcoat. So that's why I've got this funky looking wing. Alright, finishing up this video with a final bit of collaging footage. I really like the way this ladybird turned out, and it was such a relief after the disaster of that one that I painted. And honestly, I've been battling with these insects for quite a while, because I've been obviously like sketching them out loads, and I've been like the thought of trying to figure out how to do them in collage, or just not even collage, just doing the final illustration, because they've just been sketches up to this point. I was thinking, how on earth do I do this guy in colour to like actually be finished? It took a lot of brain power to figure it out. But I'm so happy with how this turned out. I edited it a little bit in Photoshop. I just kind of changed the face shape and tweaked the colours a little bit. But I'm so happy with how this little guy turned out. So he's one of the characters which will be featuring hopefully in a children's book one day. But there's so much more work that needs to be done with it. It's at the very beginning stages. Anyway, I'll hand you over to me for a bit and then the video will end. Alright, so this is the end of the video now. A week filled with many different things. It's now Friday, it's almost 5 o'clock, and probably for the rest of the day I'm just going to work on finishing up this video edit, and that's me done. I hope you've enjoyed seeing my week, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye. Oh, don't forget about that Patreon print. If you would like to receive that, you know where to go. Okay, bye.